there's two blokes I want to mention off the top. Zack Lomax and Crichton. That is Critta. Stephen Crichton. This was Stephen Crichton's best Origin game I've seen him play. He was absolutely phenomenal. And we spoke about it before in the selection table, is could he be a leader, a captain for the Blues for the next 10 years or the next 5 years? This game, he has cemented himself as one of the best players in the competition, regardless of position. And also, he might become one of the most valuable players in the competition if he continues this form in Origin and for the Bulldogs. This was a lifetime game for Critta, in my opinion. This was a game that a lot of people are going to look back and remember how good Critta played. And it wasn't just in attack, it was in defence as well. He was the closest thing to perfect I've seen a centre play in Origin. That's how good he was.
The good thing, Kempy, about the nature of the Blues lineup and the attributes that they've got, in that they've got this back three who get this massive yardage. No matter what the situation, they get them out of trouble. They've got these two halves with these massive boots, namely Mitch Moses as well, that gets them out of trouble. They've got the best front row in the world, Payne Haas, that gets them out of trouble when the going gets tough. But then they had the Riz on top of it, didn't they? They had these superstars, and tonight those players were Stephen Crichton and Zack Lomax, and said you get down there, you play high percentage footy, you complete. Then you get there and you go, all right, we lay Angus Crichton and Jeremiah and I. All right, nothing's going on. We kick crossfield to Zack Lomax, and he produces brilliance. But, mate, just on Stephen Crichton, the performance that he put up tonight.
Unbelievable.
Generally, if you're to believe all the things coming out of Blues camp, yesterday he was 50-50 whether or not he was going to play after I think it was in Cork at training. And in Critta's early years in Origin, when he sort of came in as a bit of a stopgap when Latrell was out or Tommy Turbo was out or whoever it might have been. And I remember sitting on this panel 3 years ago and he played a few of these games and new blokes had sort of defend him a little bit. And I said, no, he had defensive issues. He would go for these big intercept plays and try and go for match winners and he'd get caught out and then he'd come up with a big play later on, but it's like, all right, it's 1 for 1. And he'd make poor defensive read, poor defensive tackles. By the standards that Stephen Crichton we knew was capable of and that we'd seen at club level, that just feels like it was 2 decades ago because the defensive performances, he's now become essentially the best defensive centre in the NRL. It's a good honour roll of people in it he's up against. But
I honestly, after that performance, it's clear. It's daylight.
That's pretty bloody close to I want to say, among the best defensive performances from a centre at Origin level. The reason I'm a little hesitant to say it is the Maroons didn't throw a lot at them, but the amount of time, it was a 12-point margin in the end.
And he would double defend on the edge there.
The amount of defensive plays he made, where there were 2-on-1s, and he just held off, he'd bite in, and then he'd go bang out. He'd feign in and go back out. There was a couple of 2-on-1s there where he saved tries off his own back just due to brilliant defensive plays. It was more about what he did off the ball in defence than what he did with ball in hand.
But what's crazy is, so we're talking about in the second half, he won them the game with his defence. He opened the scoring with his attack. Big right foot on Valentine Holmes, gets through the line, gives it to Lomax, they score. Yes, you can find better centres that have had a better attacking game than Critta in the history of Origin or whatever. But I think it's right up there with the full gambit of the game, attack and defence, being a 9.9 out of 10. That's how good the game was from Critta. It was absolutely phenomenal.
And Kemp, you got you got Laurie Daly there and you got Billy Slater there, and they're going, all right, this is state of Origin. We've got Hamiso Tabuai, Fido, Valentine Holmes, Latrell Mitchell, Zack Lomax, and you go, boys, just defend and make your right decisions, get your contact good. Points will come. Get your defence right.
Mate, he was so good. That double defence he did on the end, the times he jammed in, the times he dragged players out, dragged Val Holmes out, he was absolutely incredible. And if you weren't fully on board the Crichton hype train, get on board now. We're talking about a generational talent. What do you reckon, Matty?
He was easily my man of the match. They ended up giving it to Payne Haas, and Payne Haas, he set the tone for us all game. So I'm more than happy with him getting man of the match. But Critta, by far and away, was my personal man of the match. Just his defence, like you boys just touched on it. There were so many times where because I'm just so used to seeing it, I was just so used to seeing the centre kind of shit his pants and make the wrong decision, and he just never did.
No.
And it was always 2-on-1. He was so good. It was easily the best game I've ever seen him play.
He was so good.
Spoke about the 2-on-1 that he saved there that looked a try for all money. You know what? It didn't look a try for all money because how easily he defended it. There was the one where he took Val Holmes out, you mentioned as well. But there were so many moments in this game from him that there was one where he was caught turning in and Hammer got in his outside, and I went, okay, cool. There's a 2-on-1. They're away and gone. Critta somehow managed to turn around and get to Hammer and make the tackle. I'm like, no one does that to Hammer.
Yeah. What about his early in the game, his bump on Hammer, I think it was. Just a complete bump. I don't think, did they score off it? Like, they got close to scoring potentially, but it was a complete one-on-one bump on Hammer. You never see that with Hammer in Origin. Like, Tommy Turbo was marked up against Hammer and not done that. So, Critta.
And then the try assist for Zack Lomax, obviously very controversial, but that right foot step he put on Val, mate, Val, I'd say clutching at air, but he was about a metre from him. Like, he didn't get near him.
What an incredible match from Stephen Crichton. I'm just so, you can build a Blues dynasty around this bloke. That's how big of it. Like, that's just what he did on the field. Imagine all the energy he brought off the field. Imagine all the morale, the spirit. An incredible game from Critta. Look, if you're doubting me, please go back and watch that game and watch Critta closely. The amount of defence he did at a high click against one of the best attacking. We're talking about the Hammer here. Arguably the best attacking weapon in the competition with ball in hand. A lot of the times Hammer was just like running out of room, taking Val Holmes out. An absolutely incredible game from Crichton.
Well, Hammer's been scoring Origin tries for fun since he debuted.
Yeah.
And he just shut him down.
Completely. Like, it was just a masterclass. The next man I want to talk about is Lomax. My God. I want to go back a week ago and punch myself in the dick 3 times because I even thought about picking Tommy Turbo instead of Zack Lomax. I'm an idiot.
Can you give me a little love tap while you're there?
All of us. We are idiots. Laurie Daly, he made the right call. Whether Tommy was fit or not fit, Zack Lomax was absolutely phenomenal. 2 tries, and that last catch, when have we seen... The last time we saw a catch like that was a guy called Israel Folau, I think in his debut series. Now, Izzy Folau was a little bit better, but a catch of that kind of stature. Your hand out with one hand, bringing it back in, and then ability to offload it over top. Then Connor Watson finds a way to offload with all these Queenslanders on him. Once again, Connor Watson comes on the field. He makes an impact. Zack Lomax has arrived. He has truly cemented himself as an Origin winger, as an Australian winger. What an amazing performance. And that's the 2 tries. We're not even talking about the fact he ran for over 200 metres. What a performance from Lomax.
Again, as I said, he's so, one of the greatest players we've ever seen with aerial ability in the game to get over anyone that he's on. It's remarkable. And, mate, credit when due to Laurie Daly, because a few weeks ago we were sort of sitting there going, right, if Tommy's fit and he gives you the okay that he's good to go, you pick him. And I was told that Laurie was not all in on Tommy Turbo, but going into that weekend where Lomax came back from injury, it was a bit of a 3-way shootout. Tommy Turbo, Zack Lomax, Jacob Kiraz. Kiraz unfortunately got injured. Lomax came out and set the world on fire. Tommy Turbo was okay, but nowhere near his best. And Laurie went, all right, it was a shootout. Zack Lomax was the better baller. I'm picking him. He's in form. He looks fit and firing. The result was there tonight. So, you can love a player. They can have all the runs on the board for whatever team they're playing for, rep, Australian, New South Wales club. And Laurie went, no, I'm picking the informed player. To be, as he said he was going to do, he picked the informed Zack Lomax.
Outstanding. Like Lomax said, look, even after the selection table, I remember speaking to Matty going, man, I think I made the wrong call here with Zachy Lomax. As soon as I saw him run out that weekend, I was like, yep, he's got to be the Blues winger. He was just, like, the fact that he can offer you, usually when you get a 200-plus metre winger, you're sacrificing a guy that can break a game open with tries, with aerial crazy tries and offloads and flick passes. With Zack Lomax, from a wing perspective, you are sacrificing nothing. Like, he has everything you could ever dream a winger would have. Size, power, speed, flair, the ability to break games open, good under the high ball. Like, honestly, if you were to be honest, what would you add to Lomax's game right now? Like, what would you add? What could you add?
Nothing.
Literally nothing.
He's the winger's prototype.
Like, he is seriously the prototype of the perfect winger right now.
He could have kicked that goal at the end for my third class. But look, aside from that, we talk at nauseum, Kempy, and like any sort of avid rugby league follower would understand we're talking about the importance of the back 3 and yardage. And I sound like a broken record in the importance of it, but it's one thing to say, all right, Lomax, Toto, they run for 200 metres each, and you get this. And that was the big advantage on paper that the Blues had going into this game over the Maroons, was our back 3 and our yardage getting out of trouble. It's one thing to get yourself in position, to take the ball on the full and get those strong kick returns and get those metres up and get your metres up over 200. But it's the ones where they did kick there and jammed us down our corner and you went, shit, how are we going to get out of this? The ability of our back three, and in particular Zack Lomax, to get in between defenders, find his front and get a quick play of the ball and just get us rolling rather than the Maroons the whole game. When we jammed you down there, it was just body after body belting you, turning you around, slow play the ball, and you're going, and then you've got, funnily enough, Cam Munster was your long kicking game and your main kicker in the game in this one, trying to kick you out of trouble, Because
we'll get
Lomax,
to that. Why was Munster kicking?
Toto, Edwards and Lomax just finding their front in between defenders. It's like, it's little things, but it sets up the whole game.
It sets up the whole game. That first tackle sets the tone of the set. And the difference between Queensland and New South Wales is the first tackle for New South Wales was a quick play of the ball, and the first tackle for Queensland was a slow play of the ball. The whole set changes from that point on. And what's even better for New South Wales, if the first tackle is somehow slow, then Toto would come in and make it fast. It was just they nailed their game plan. If everyone going into it was they need big meters from their wingers. Guess what? Both wingers, not just one, both wingers ran for 200 meters plus. That is executing a game plan literally perfectly. And the fact that they can do it on such a consistent basis. Like right now, Brian Toto, and under the high ball he had some issues tonight, but right now Brian Toto is averaging more than 200 metres a game in Origin.
Mate, Lomax and Toto were both, that was their second game back from 6-week layoffs. 6 weeks. It's not a minor little hammy, twinge or car twinge. You have a week off, get it right. 6 weeks off. That is pretty major. One game back each. That was 200. The second game.
200 metres each. What do you reckon about Zack Lomax, Matty?
Yeah, I am with you about because I remember last year it was the same thing. At the selection table, I didn't pick him. Guru picked him. I thought, I'm not too sure. And I remember thinking after game one, wow, never made that mistake again. Here I am a year later, made that mistake again. Will never make it again. Zack Lomax has locked his place in this team for the next few years. And he is built for Origin.
Yeah, we are witnessing our bloke reach his potential. We are finally seeing everything that, Brad Fittler talked about in the early days, call him the gifted one and all that talk, and he had all this potential. When the greats really rate a kid, they can see something that a lot of us aren't seeing. And we're finally seeing it with Zack Lomax. What is he, 26, 27 now? Probably 27 max. He's still got plenty of years left in him at Origin level. And
he's 25.
He's 25 years old. 25. So you got Critta at 24. And this is what's scary about this Blues, the prospect of this Blues side. This is a young side. This is a young side. And for the first time ever in history, I think they said it on the TV. That's what I think I heard. It's the first time a team has had no debutants in the starting side for the Blues. And I know, Freddie cops a lot of crap for his, tenure of the Blues, but he has a big hand in the fact that all these players are so young still, because he debuted 11 players that year?
11 players in Game 1 2018.
And you're seeing the benefit of it now, because right now you've got a whole back line where the oldest bloke is probably Dylan Edwards at 28 or something like that, 29.
I think the stat was every player had played over 100 NRL games.
And they're still young. And they're still young. Cleary, he's 26, 27 years old. Moses just hit 30. You have still got at least 3 or 4 years. Then you got Katoa coming through. You got plenty of other guys coming through that can play in the halves there. And so Zack Lomax, for me, what an incredible, he really does remind me a version of Matt Cooper at his best. I really see, and you could argue even better. You could argue he has had better games than Matt Cooper at his best. Or Gaznia at his best as well. When you guys used to have those two big outside backs that would just cause us absolute problems as Queenslanders, Zack Lomax is like that. I mean, you could argue that that those guys haven't had this good of a game in Origin, and I'd have to go back and check. You'd probably know better. But, I mean, there's no way they could have had better. The game that Lomax had tonight...
Hey, Lomax has gone 4 from 4. He hasn't had a single bad game in Origin. He's been outstanding.
Mental. And that's he does remind me of those days of your Cooper and all those boys.
Cooper Gaz, arguably the greatest centre pairing of all time.
Yeah, it does begin to, and I know he's a winger, but he just, for some reason, he moves a bit like him. But an incredible performance from Lomax, and he's just getting started. That's the scary thing. This bloke is just getting started. It's his 4th game. In all 4 games, he's been in the top 5 players on the field. Arguably even top 3 if you wanted to.
I reckon that's very conservative.
Yeah, you could say top 3. What a performance. And to think that Lomax and Critta are on one side like that, like just doing what they're doing, it's a scary combination that could be together for 5 years. More. It could be together for 10 years if they stay till 35. Think about the combination that they can build together over the next 4 or 5 years.
You lock Latrell and Toto on the left edge. Like Latrell's 27. What's Toto? 25 or something? 26?
Yeah, 26 or so.
Not real old. Like, they can be potentially edges for the next 5 years. And if they stay fit, why wouldn't they be,
Like,
really?
imagine the damage Critta and Lomax are going to do together for the next 5 years. It is just scary, scary stuff. What a performance.